for our hymn number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
The minor key. Come thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love, teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness prove. Come thou fount of every vision, lift our arms to what may come. See the lion and the lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of warful silent, feel our love grow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us find ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
We bid you welcome. In this community of radical inclusion, we make space for what you believe and what you love. Your whole self is welcome here. In this community of open-hearted inclusion for all people, we do not expect you to think a certain way or restrict yourself to one set of beliefs. We only ask that you try to live a kindly, helpful life with the dignity proper to a human being. Welcome all who believe that religion is wider than any sect and deeper than any set of opinions. Welcome all who might find in our friendship strength and encouragement for daily living. We are so grateful that you all are here. My name is Helen Smith, and I am your service leader today. My pronouns are she and her. Thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us, whether enjoying the service in person or watching online. This morning's service is a multi-generational service. All ages are gathered here. We are excited for our time together this morning as we explore the questions in our lives. I'd like to extend a special welcome to any visitors today. After the service, we invite you to stay for coffee and conversations downstairs in our reception hall. We have a few announcements. I'm going to be leading a listening circle today, the first one we're going to have as we search for a new minister. There will be 4 options altogether. Today's in person in the Marge Brown room upstairs after service. Next Sunday will be after service in the Marge Brown room. There will be a listening circle in person at our picnic, and then the last option is online. And the questions will all be the same whether you do it online or in person, but just choose one option. We don't want anyone getting mixed up and doing more than one, so just one option, whatever you choose to do. As far as the picnic, in about a month, join the UU's annual summer picnic, Sunday, September 14th at 10:30. This is in lieu of a regular service, so there's no service that day, just go straight to the picnic. We will be gathering at Novi Lakeshore Park, Pavilion number 1. The membership committee will be providing hot dogs, veggie dogs, corn, and lemonade. Please bring a dish to pass with everyone and your smiling face. There will be more information in the e-blast and the slides, but they could use some volunteers. So if you can help setting up, grilling, cleaning up, please contact Liz Knight to volunteer. There is also Thursday at noon in Adams Hall Daytimers group. This is a group for folks 50 and over. They will have their monthly lunch. You are invited to attend, share a meal and conversation with friends. And then this is a misprint, I think, but anyway. And there's one other, I don't know if Marie's here, but Maria is running Save the World this evening at 7 o'clock downstairs in Adams Hall, so please, if you're available, the title is What is Going On, and it has to do with what kind of information we're getting, what's accurate, what are good sources that you can trust and believe. Marie's got a lot of resources for people, so if you can attend, that's going to be a very interesting talk tonight. Please take a moment to silence your phones, but we encourage you to share your presence online with everyone. And I will now do the chalice lighting reading. Our chalice lighting reading today comes from Amy McKenzie. Welcome to this common sacred space. Common because we are all welcome. Sacred because here we transform the ordinary and attend to the profound. We carry with us regrets, doubts, fears, stories, laughter. May they inspire our worship. Above all, may we each meet what we need most to find on this day in this common sacred space. Let us light our challenge with our hearts open to each other and what we do not yet know. Would you please join me in reciting the UUCF mission statement? We seek answers everywhere, include everyone, and live with compassion. And now Argot has the message for all ages.
Right, so today we have a little different message for all ages because today is our backpack blessing. A modified backpack blessing because I don't see a lot of backpacks in the audience. So we are just going to consider this blessings for a new year that is coming. We have lots of people, lots of students who are starting at new schools, starting new grades, starting in new environments, maybe switching from one modality of school to another, or people that are starting a new job or starting a new environment in some way. So for everyone who would like to participate, who is starting something new this year, so new school counts, new grade counts, that all counts, why don't you rise and follow me up to the front. We'll make a little line. Come on. Come on. Okay. As we gather in community, we bless these backpacks and these students. And you can follow me, we're going to walk around. Not just as carriers of books and supplies, but as companions on the journey of learning, growing, and moving through the world. Congregants, I ask you to raise your hands in the air. Imagine you are lifting up the spirit of these students and workers who are getting ready for a new year. Will you, as a congregation, support their learning and growth this year? If yes, say, we will. We will. You may put your hands down now. Now place them on your heart. As we walk around, send out your blessings and goodwill to those who pass you. Will you, as a congregation, support them this year beyond their learning and growth? Will you show up for them? If yes, say, we will. We will. Now, take a deep breath in and out. Feel the energy of this space, the love that surrounds you, the support that lifts you, and the people who are here for you. As I give you a charm for your backpack, which you can take home, let this be a blessing and a symbol, not just for today, but for every morning of the community who is behind you. Go forth in love and go forth together. All right, thank you guys. Thank you.
We'll now take a few moments to recognize our joys and sorrows. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice. Source of stars and planets and water and land, open our hearts to all of our neighbors. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. You are welcome to pick up a stone or stones from the table, infuse it or charge it with your joy or sorrow, and place it in the singing bowl where its energy will ripple out to be held by all of us. If you would like to verbally share something important in your heart, please come up and speak directly into the microphone. All are welcome to participate in any of these ways. Light 3 candles for the intentions that rest in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. One for the joys, one for the sorrows, and one for the strength of the gathered community that can support you and bring you peace.
So good to see all of your faces. In fact, I've actually been away I was away for a vacation, and then I got sick, but now everything is back to normal again. But it's so great to see all of you here today. Today we are doing a kind of a repeat. We're starting and repeating some traditions, and last year was our first year doing a question box Sunday. So we're doing it again, this time with myself and our RE coordinator, Argot Kramer. And so we are thinking about the questions in our lives. And so I would like you to take a moment to, our whole meditation is about questions that we are thinking on. And so a meditation sometimes needs sitting, noticing where we are in our bodies. Perhaps you're holding some tension somewhere. Perhaps there you need to center and feel maybe there's some tightness happening up in your chest or your shoulders. Maybe you can notice where that is for yourself. And just breathe into that as we take a moment here in silence together. Let's take in a deep breath all together. And let that out. Bring all of our intention and energy to this moment right here. We are taking a pause in our service to connect with this space, with each other and ourselves. Let us open our hearts to what is happening in our own lives and beyond. It's so wonderful we can hear from each other and those that we care about. Take a moment to think on your own joys, your own struggles, and the joys and struggles of those you know and our whole community. We have the power to hold all of those things here together. Let's take another moment in silence. To frame our meditation on questions, and to share with you a poem by Adrienne Marie Brown. It's funny how serendipity kind of works. This poem came to me the other day. She writes, "Ask questions. Oh, beloveds, ask questions, ask questions. We need a shared context, a something together. Together is the point. This vision is not about precision or prophecy or anything in particular, but here is some of the truth. We are each answers, each. We are each somebody's heaven, somebody's joy. Each of us are precious. We all belong to the earth, the lush garden, the fresh and salt water, the cave and complexity. When you're thinking on these questions and we're influenced by the larger world that we live in, don't believe in trash people, collateral damage, buried history, lost souls. All that hatred is a lie. No one blooming life is a threat to you. Don't teach your children to wither or delight in enemies. We cannot be better than the worst of us or safer than the danger we allow. We cannot leave poison in the soil. We must pull it whole where it is rooted. We are a pattern, life and death intertwined, learning to hold the love of all of each other. We are a web, vibrating strands of home, learning to catch our breath. So listen, listen, and ask questions. Now, questions in our larger world, we've been told that questions are bad, or that questions are somehow mean that we don't know things, or that if we have questions or we're uncertain about something, there's something wrong with us. But that's not what we believe, is it? We Unitarian Universalists believe that questions are everywhere, and we learn to live into the questions, especially of what we do not yet know. Today is a time of reflection and learning, a day of curiosity. What do we want to know? What questions do we have? Curiosity leads to more curiosity if we're open to it. Let these questions be a spark of conversation. Each of you received index cards and pens when you came in. So I am going to encourage you to write down some questions. Argo and I are going to do our best to take a stab at these questions, knowing that we really don't have very many answers. But we will give it our best try, and we are going to respond also to the ones we are unable to get to. So we're going to take a minute for you to think on whatever questions you might have. They may not be ones that, again, that we can personally address, but we will do our best. And then when we have the offertory, then you'll send those questions up with the offertory basket. So let's take another minute. And then you can consider what questions you might put on your card, and then we'll come back for our moment of meditation. So if you want to go ahead and think and write on whatever questions you have. Do you have any questions? No. Take a final moment to breathe in. Notice what's come up for us and what might be happening in your life that you might want to think on some more questions for yourself. Let us please remain seated, and we'll sing from the great hymnal number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come
All right, is everyone pretty much done writing down their questions?
Whatever they have is fine.
Okay. Our offertory words today come from Dorothy Day. People say, "What is the sense of our small effort?" They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. You are now invited to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of the congregation. Thank you. Please join me in reciting the offertory blessing that can be found in your order of service. To the work of creating blessed community within and beyond these walls, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
So Denise and Joe are going to bring up the questions to Helen, and she is going to go through them. And in the time that we have, knowing that people are also restless, that we are going to do our best to respond to some questions. You can give your questions to Joe. Thank you. Oh, we have some other questions over that way. As you can see, if every single one of you actually wrote questions, there's just no way we could actually answer them.
More.
But, oh, wait, I see another hand. So while we are waiting then for Helen, she's going to filter some, and then we are going to follow up later with some of the responses to if we see particular themes or things that are really on people's minds, then we're going to respond to those together. So I wanted to say how happy I am working with Argo. Argo started here in November of last year and is doing an amazing job. And so I was wondering, say for, yes. What are you most looking forward to this year?
I am most looking forward to, I think, just being able to be at the church year from the very start, being able to kind of cultivate that, the culture, being able to start into the church year with more of knowing having my bearings, knowing what I like in the classroom, knowing what the kids like in the classroom. That's been one of the biggest things working here, has been getting to know the things that the students prefer over time, because I can plan as much lessons as I want using one thing, and if they want the other thing, it's just never going to happen. So I think really being able to find ways that everybody can participate and be intrigued is really my favorite part.
Yeah, and I think especially for our newcomers, today we have about 4 or 5 visitors today. So I thought I would also frame that Unitarian Universalism is really all about the questions. If you're like, what kind of service is this, where they were talking about questions, it's because everything that we've done in our entire denominational world, what many people refer to as us as the most protesting of the Protestants, because we came out of all of these previous traditions before us who were always saying we are not exactly like that. And now if you look around the room, you see all of our banners that represents plurality, not just one particular tradition. And so because of that, then we really pride ourselves on living into questions and not having everything figured out. What we try to do is, can we stay in community when we don't have things figured out? You know, that's a very difficult thing, isn't it? So that's what we're always trying to work on. So I wonder, Helen, do you have a question you would like to put out there for us?
Yeah, these are really, really good questions. And some of them I'm going to put aside because we're actually going to talk about those exact questions in our listening circles.
Okay, you want to make sure to
It's
come up
almost
to the
like you-
microphone.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question, I'm so incredibly scared to grow up, to start college and new things. I'm not sure how to deal, I suppose. I'm asking for advice. How did you deal with it? Any advice you can give me?
So the person is afraid of growing up, and then say the next part?
They're scared to grow up, to start college and new things. They need some
Then-
advice how to deal with that.
So of course, Argo and I are at very different stages of our lives around this. And so I can only say for myself, it took me a very, very, very long time to figure out where or what I was going to be in this world. And that our community, the world in general, puts a lot of pressure on young people to figure out who they are at a very early age. I mean, people as middle schoolers, as freshmen, have to figure out which AP classes am I going to take, because everything is so important. It's put on you. And so the challenge is trying to hold the place of it's important and it's not everything, and that eventually you may change your mind about this decision you made when you were 13. You know, that's a lot of pressure, isn't it? And so trying to hold on to that not everything is figure outable even now, and eventually something is going to change. I try to think of it like a yoga practice that you may not be able to do whatever the thing is now, but eventually some door is going to open, something is going to shift that you just can't see right now. And the hard part is being able to keeping focused on doing something every day towards whatever it is your goals are without knowing exactly how you're going to get there. And I think all of us have struggled with that in some way or another. I have been up and down in many different ways in my life, and it took a long time, but I think that's part of our problem as adults. And so I'm going to encourage the adults to please not put pressure on your young people. Try to ask them questions beyond when are you going to college and what are you going to study? Like what are your interests, and things that showing that you care about them as people, not just like what are you going to produce, because that's very capitalist, consumer oriented.
Yeah. I think there's some solace in knowing that everyone that is your age also feels like that.
Yes.
And I think that's not to diminish it, but more to say that's why we share joys and sorrows. A shared sorrow is less sorrow. A shared, oh my goodness, this is kind of horrifying and scary, is shared, it's less scary. And I think the other part is that there is, I felt this a lot of this immense pressure to go straight to college, know exactly what you want to do, come out, and hearing stories around me from people who are older and wiser and have said like, well, I went to college for one thing and now I'm doing something completely different 12 years later, or I went once, went again, or I changed my major 3 times, or whatever. Hearing stories of like, not only are you not the only one feeling like this now, you aren't the only person who's felt like this in general.
Yeah. Yep, good answers. I love this question. If you could borrow Harold's purple crayon, what would you draw?
I'm trying to remember. So I think that in the story, Harold is able to draw anything.
Anything. He's got this magic crayon that he just...
Do you want to start or shall I?
You can start.
Okay. So if I had that ability, I would do what I'm trying to do here and now and what we are all trying to do, of building a community where people care about each other and make space for each other, and that people aren't in need, that we make space and show up for each other. It's not something you can actually see other than people caring for each other. And that's what I hope to see in the world, despite our administration, shall we say. And we are on the side of people who want to make life better for other people, whatever that looks like. So that's my hope and dream.
Yeah. I think, well, at first my answer was like, ooh, a new house for my cats. And, and then Reverend Karen started talking, and I was like, okay, wait a second. And so I think in general, I have a lot of passion for animal welfare, along with making sure humans are well cared for. So things that would help further animal welfare missions, like getting stray cats spayed and neutered, getting things like that, making sure there's enough space for the animals in the shelters. I think that would be where I would go first.
Good answer. What's the best way to deal with people who have significant differences than you do? There's actually a few questions along those lines.
Yeah.
You know, I have to admit that just this morning, so I take, just like our sources here, I take inspiration from a wide variety. And so I read from Diana Bass, and she is a progressive Christian leader. And so every Sunday she sends out readings and stuff. And today her email was all about differences, families divided because of politics and so on. And she talked about her and her brother stopped talking to her 8 years ago because of a response that she had to something he said that was very MAGA inspired. And and hearing the question makes me think on, like, noticing my own reaction to that was like, oh, I just can't deal with that right now. And I stopped reading that email because it's the eternal question. How do we have family and friends and coworkers who, when you hear things that they say, that a part of me is like, are we from the same planet? Like, how do you have this understanding of the world and I have this one? And and I have to, in my own family, we have these splits over these kinds of belief systems. And I think that it comes down to a personal inventory of, like, do I want to be in relationship with this person? How can I stay in relationship with them from a place of love? And what does love look like in this moment when I could be personally feeling hurt? People I know and love could be personally hurt because of other people's beliefs. How can I work on separating the person from the belief? For me, it's a person-by-person situation. It's not like all of these people, because I don't want to completely generalize either. So I think it's a very sticky thing. So what do you do, Argo?
I think I was really resonating with what you were saying about figuring out, like, almost like a modified relationship of, like, this person is super important to me. I have a lot of love for this person. This person has been with me throughout my whole life. How can I best create a relationship that is sustainable for the both of us? So thinking about, like, boundaries. Are you cordial with this person, but we just know nobody is discussing politics, nobody's bringing it up. But then even that can bring on other feelings of, like, you feeling like it's all hidden underneath and you aren't really discussing it. So I think it is a really tricky balance of figuring out really asking those further questions of like, how can you deal with the difficult people, but then finding that individual question of like, do I want this person in my life? How do I want this person in my life?
Yeah, good answers. How might we seek a greater help and support if we do not have a religious faith?
I think that one of the best parts about church for me as someone who's an atheist is the community, the people, and that is the part for me where I come here and we sing together and we are in this room together and we talk in coffee hour together, and there are people who have known me since I was like a baby in coffee hour, and they know they can just drop in a conversation and know like, oh, how's your sister? How's everything going? They know me so inherently well, and I think it's a really big, that is what gives me the feeling of like I am part of something bigger than myself. I am part of a large community of people who love and care for each other and me, and I think that's the most powerful part for me, and that definitely helps me kind of get that feeling of support and grace and knowing that this community is always going to be there.
Yeah, I think people get tied up in the words. And so when people get caught up in like religious or faith, I think that there are many different ways to understand those words. And and even if you do different dictionary searches or different kinds of things, you'll see that there are many different ways of understanding the word religious. So the way I understand the word religious, that I'm sure my Christian conservative colleagues would not agree with, but my particular understanding is that religion is a way that we help remember who we are. And that is one of the reasons why Unitarian Universalism works for me so much. And then like when some people say, oh, I don't need to go to church because of whatever, like to me it's not about being told how to live, but like we all support each other. And we as a community remind each other who we are and what we believe. So when we are not being as caring as we should be, or if we're not being as thoughtful as we should be, or maybe not as joyful as we could be, that we help each other out and say, hey, remember that you cared about these people or something, that helps us go back. I kind of see it as a community kind of helps you hold up a mirror to yourself and also who you want to be, your inspiration for how you want to be in the world. And that we help each other do that. And in the UU world, it's not from a place of dogma or who's right or wrong, but how can we love each other through that process?
Why do we maintain the structure of a more traditional Sunday service?
That is an excellent question.
It is a very good question.
Yes. And I will say that many UU congregations right now are struggling with that question, and especially in this particular congregation, we are sitting in a room that was built in 1852. So it is very much from a way of religion of somebody like looking up all in one direction. Many of our congregations now are built so that they have big open wide spaces so that they can be in circles or different kinds of ways of being together, so it's not like a hierarchy. This feels like a hierarchy. And that's a decision. That's an ongoing thing of like, who do we want to be? That's what it always comes back to. And so I look at our traditional, like when people call us and like, what is your service like? Like, well, it looks like a traditional Protestant service because we're going to have singings and readings, there will be an offertory, etc. But if you listen to the words, they are very, very different. We never ever talk about shame, blame, guilt, or any of that. But and I also think of it like people need ritual. No matter what your particular background is or whatever, or even if you've never been a part of any faith tradition, like that consistent ritual, people need that. And we learn and repeat things through music. That's one of the reasons why we sing together. And we have the various statements that we say again together, so that like it builds and that a binding of the community.
Does it make sense to pray? And if so, what is the best way?
Does it make sense to you to pray? I think that's a very personal question.
I'm not even sure what makes sense means, because it sounds like there's like looking for an outcome. I don't believe in praying for an outcome, because I don't believe in a being that cares about an outcome that I'm asking for. When and if I pray, it's more for peace and for myself to be calm. Like, how can I be present in this moment? But I think that it's definitely a very personal question, and there are lots of ways that people do pray. And so I think it's important for everyone, no matter what your path is, to figure out what that means for you.
What happened to following socially accepted norms and manners?
What happened to?
What happened to following socially accepted norms and manners?
I guess I'm not sure what that question means without some context. So I'm projecting onto this writer that they're worried about things changing in the world. And unless there's
Maybe like, you know how you say sometimes that, like men used to hold the door open for women, and different things that people used to do, like courtesies and respectful behavior and that kind of thing. Maybe they're saying that that's not as prevalent anymore.
Right.
Like what happened to
So
that?
My first my undergraduate degree is in history and political science. And so when people say, oh, it's not like it used to be, or this or that, then I point to like people, when I'm kind of a true crime buff, and people talk about, oh, this generation is so bad. I'm like, are you serious? People have been killing each other since time began. We have always known things have always changed. I think back to when I was in high school, I was in the play Bye Bye Birdie, and there was a song that says, what's the matter with kids today? And every generation says that about the one after them. And so eventually the things that are being introduced now will be the norm in the future, and people in the future will say, why aren't they doing it like we did? That's just how life happens. Every generation changes, and we're always getting adjusted to whatever the new is.
Some of these questions you will not be able to answer. And, well, it's past the time. Do you want to do one more? And a lot of these are very similar to questions that have already been asked.
So it sounds like there's a lot of similar types of thinking, and I just wanted to acknowledge at the beginning of a church year, we are like mid-August. Like when I say a church year, it usually begins like the first week of September, or like the Sunday after Labor Day, and so we begin then and move through the rest of the year. So we have a really great plan for this year for our Sunday services and for our kids. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be building and doing together. I will acknowledge like what Helen said about the listening circles, that for those of you who are relatively new, that my contract will be ending in July of next year. So we are still working together and still doing everything that we have normally done, and I'm very excited about what's to come. So we're going to end our service together by singing number 1064 in the teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home.
Low below me, I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart remains.
because in a minute we will go into our traveling music. So I just want to take a moment to bless the questions. Bless the questions written down, the questions written on your heart, the ones you have yet to express, maybe the ones you're afraid even to say to yourself. Hold them all and know perhaps one day into the future you will live into the answers.
Questions now.